The Black Hills region is a terrain full of contrasts. Peaks, forests, meadows. This diversity contributes to the wide variety of wildlife found here. There is one creature living in the hills who is happy to live here, 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 and especially here. Bat biologist Joel Tigner is studying the declining bat population in the hills and is concerned about the consequences of losing such a voracious eater.
Well, bats are the main predators of night-flying insects. Just to give you an example, I netted a bat emerging at sunset. We banded it, weighed it, released it, and less than 3 hours later caught it coming back into the cave, and there was a 40% increase in body weight. And they will easily do that at least a couple of times throughout the course of the evening, so they can eat their weight in insects. A lot of the insects that they feed on are forestry pests as well as agricultural pests, including things like mosquitoes.
Joel is trying to infiltrate the secret world of bats, hoping he may learn something that could help in their preservation. Joel begins his day by inspecting various mines and caves that have been gated. Joel took us to one cave in Nemo that seems to have lost most of its bat residents.
The caves are only closed during the winter hibernation season. There is an access panel built into these that is left open during the summer, during the active season for the bats, and it's closed during the hibernation season. We've had some problems with vandalism. This particular gate was installed last fall, and we know of at least 2 instances where someone has removed rock and tunneled underneath the gate during the hibernation season. The caves are open during the summer. They're welcome to come in and enjoy the caves at that time, but during the winter time the bats simply have no other alternatives. They're dependent upon these underground roosting sites to be able to get themselves through the winter.
A crucial step in Joel's bat conservation plan is some good PR for the bats in the form of public education.
Bats are not rodents. They don't make holes in buildings. They don't enlarge holes in buildings. They don't chew wiring. They don't build nests. They use it just like they find it. And here in South Dakota, they're seasonal residents as well. So if you have bats in a building, it's generally not difficult to get them out, and it can be done in a manner without putting the bats at risk. Other things that are common misconceptions, for example, most people consider all or most bats to be carriers of or have rabies. That's very much a myth. The estimate for North America is that only 0.5% of all bats ever contract the disease. It tends to kill them very quickly when they do contract it.
After spending the day monitoring the bats' habitat, Joel prepares for the evening when he can monitor the bats themselves.
So one of the things that we do, the way that we catch them at sites like this, is we will string up mist nets over the water. We've got some high poles that will get, basically the highest net will be 20 feet off the ground. And we'll just string them around over the water and immediately adjacent to the ponds, and when the bats come in to either drink or feed on the insects, at least before they know the nets are there, we'll catch them in the nets and get them out.
Assembling the nets is a time-consuming process, but one that will hopefully be rewarded with plenty of bats for Joel to examine.
This one was a bit early when he came out. It's a silver-haired bat. That's the detector that's picking up the sound. But you can hear that there is some audible. That's not echolocation. That's just distress. Let me off. Let me go. But when we release her, we can have the detector on, and we can extend the wing here. Oh no. Well, what we'll do is we will take a look first of all to see if it's a juvenile. And if you want to hold the light, what we'll do is let's see, point it straight up like that. And what we'll do is we'll shine the light up through the wing. And in fact, this is a juvenile. And if you look at the distal end of the bones that make up the structure, there's it's very tiny, but there's a translucent bubble at the end of the bone.
Yep.
And that shows you that it hasn't completely ossified yet. So this is a juvenile of the year. It's a juvenile female.
While examining the silverhair bat, more bats are beginning to find their way into the nets. Joel is joined by biologist Brad Phillips to help remove the bats from the net. Once the bat is removed from the netting, Joel first determines which of the 12 species of regional bat he's dealing with.
This is the smallest bat that we have here in the Black Hills. It's Myotis ciliolabrum. It's the western small-footed bat. Usually a pretty even-tempered bat. They don't really put up much of a fuss. This is a male, and you can see they're really very tiny. They can easily sit on the last joint of my thumb.
So far, Brad and Joel have captured and released almost 10 bats, collecting important data from each one, like weight, gender, and age. The next bat retrieved from the netting was the long-legged Myotis, a species not known for being especially docile.
A little more feisty than the others have been. Some species quiet right down, and others just fuss at you the whole time. So we'll check and see if this is a juvenile or an adult. We would know, for example, based on mean weights, whether this was a good year. If you're seeing juveniles at this point in August that are pretty low weight, that tells you that they were either born late or it's been a poor foraging year. So there's a variety of things that you can look at from some of the. So a lot of what we're doing is compiling the database that we can look at once we get a number of years worth of data collected.
Although it's a long process of collecting data, research like this will hopefully ensure residents in all areas of the Black Hills a healthy, diverse ecosystem.
If you want to learn more